Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Harold here, Figuremania Show. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world. And in today's video, we are taking a look at the brand new Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire Kong. And man, I have been waiting for a long time for this figure, and it's finally here, and I'm very, very happy and impressed with this figure. Now, before we go any further, I want to give a special shout out and thank you to Hiya Toys for sending me out this figure for review. And if you guys are still on the fence of whether to pick this figure up or not, you guys can go to Kowkistoy.com, use my promo code Figuremania-kowkis to get 6% off this figure. And let's continue with the review of this fabulous figure. Let's first start off with the accessories. So you get 3 head sculpts with this figure. So you get the angry, snarling head, you get the neutral head, and you get the roaring head. And you get 4 pairs of hands. So you got the fisted hands, grip hands, knuckle walking hands, and the open palm hands. And if you guys have seen the film, you guys will notice there is a slight inaccuracy in this hand here. Now, this is the hand that does get injured from the frostbite when he fights Shimo the first time. But however, all these little cuts here, when he's fighting Scar King, he grabs his whip, and then Scar King yanks it back and it cuts his hand. That's not this hand. That's his left hand. So it's on the right hand. So I can understand why they decided to put the injuries on just one hand and things. But I just wanted to point that out. It's not a big deal. So it's just a slight inaccuracy, but it doesn't break the enjoyment of the figure. Now let's look at the sculpting detail of the heads, and let me just bring the light a little bit closer and look at the details on this guy. And if the light hits the eyes, you notice those eyes, they just light up beautifully. So that glass eye thing. So kind of like people have been saying that this is like the Hammond collection thing, and I really like this. I really like this a lot. But like, in order for you to see the eyes like this, like the light needs to hit the eyes. But if it's not, then it's kind of, you don't see it. Okay, but just looking at the details on the face just looks incredible. Very well done. Beautiful details on this head sculpt. Now let's look at the other ones. So here is the neutral head sculpt, and that looks beautiful. So getting the light to shine in its eyes, and that looks amazing. And we're taking a look at the roaring face head sculpt, and this looks awesome. I really like how this looks. This it really shows, to me, I can tell that they really did take the CG data, to make this Kong. I mean, this looks nearly 1-to-1. Okay, now the eyes, I mean, you're able to see the eyes is because, I have my lights set up in such a way where the light's hitting the eyes, but like it requires that, in order for you to see the eyes, like your lights have to be positioned in a certain way, because if it's not like moving it away and things, moving it upwards, the light's not directly hitting the eye, so you don't see them. Okay, so this requires a little bit of playing around. Now for you toy photographers, I mean, this might present a challenge. I haven't done any toy photography yet from the time of this recording, but I'll have to wait and see when I get to that point. Okay, now I would like to point out that this head sculpt is a tiny bit different from the original solicitation. In the solicitation, this figure did not have the silver tooth. This time, for this figure, we do have the silver tooth. Now, I am going to recolor this, for the, to match the other tooth, because we are getting, the Beast Glove Kong, and we're getting the exact same head sculpts. So, there's no point in having 2 roaring heads that's got 2 silver two silver teeth, right? So I want to be able to do like Godzilla versus Kong type shots and stuff. So I'll need to you know, repaint his tooth here. Let's look at the paint app and sculpt details of this figure. Hiya Toys did a phenomenal job on this figure. I love the details of his fur on this sculpt, the browns and the slight highlights of lighter browns and things. It looks phenomenal. And this is sculpted in, I believe this is you know, when he fights Scar King in his lair the first time and he razors his back with his whip. I think that's where this is from. If it's not, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you guys know a little bit better. Is this from that scene where he's fighting Scar King, or is this an injury from Godzilla versus Kong when Godzilla hits him with his heat ray? Let me know, guys, in the comments, okay? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. But getting back, I mean, this looks phenomenal, especially, let me just raise his head a little bit. If we look at the scars on his chest, look at the skin texture on his chest, looks amazing, very cool. Even like the muscle, you know, the ridgeness of his chest and things looks awesome. And like the lines from Godzilla, from the battle with Godzilla, like all the scratches and everything, looks awesome. And if you extend, if you push his upper body a little bit more, you can see where, you know, that detail continues, which is really nice. Looks great. So giving you guys a look at the hands, looks incredible. The arms, everything is awesome. Even his monkey butt, which is really cool. Okay, so his feet, and even on the under part, they did they paid attention to a little bit of you know, the way his feet look underneath. They're not, you know, it's just not it's not solid, so there's sculpting detail in his feet, which is nice, which is cool. Let's look at the articulation of this figure. Now, I do want to say that from the time that Hiya Toys released their first Kong, there has been a lot of improvements made on the part of Hiya Toys to give us this Kong here. I think this Kong figure is phenomenal. However, in terms of the articulation, you know, you do get quite a bit compared to like your other Kongs that you may have in your collection, but it could go further. And also too, I do want to mention that there is a slight flaw in the design of this figure, and it has to do with the way it stands. But I'm going to show you guys how to work around that flaw. And even though like it does have this this slight flaw, it doesn't break the enjoyment of the figure. You still can enjoy, you know, this figure. You just have to work around the, you know, this little flaw here, which is in the standing and the balancing of this figure. So let's first start off with the head. Okay, so like, let me just pull off the head so I can show you guys. So like on this part here, you know, there's a lot of movement here already, but it also has like this neck piece which can move around quite well. Okay, not as well as I'd like, because I feel that the sculpt gets in the way a little bit from you know, achieving a little bit more out of the neck, but it's welcomed. I mean, it does work well. So let me put the head back on and let me just turn the head. So see, you're able to get pretty good you know, range of head turning because of that. So this is pretty good. Okay, so you can look up, okay, and you can look down. Okay, and you can look, and he can look even further down, you know, by giving him the crunch. But just for now, I'm just showing you bit by bit. So this is very good. So let's move on to the shoulders. So he can do a T pose. Now, the way that this figure is cut, it does give the appearance that it has a butterfly joint. It does not. This does not have a butterfly joint. So what this shoulder piece does is just, it's a free floating piece here. So like when you raise his arms, you know, it doesn't get in the way of the, you know, it doesn't get in the way of his arms. So he's able to raise his arms a little bit more straighter, and he's able to touch his head now because of like the added articulation in the elbows and in the forearms and stuff and things. So which is a big improvement from the very first Kong. Okay, so these can rotate quite nicely. Okay, so since I'm on the arm, so let's just look at the arm articulation. Okay, so you got good bend at the elbows. Okay, and you also can swivel at the forearm as well. Okay, so he's got very good bend at the elbow, and also too, this figure does have bending at the wrists. So the wrists are on ball joints as well. So let me take this hand off for a second so I can show you guys. So there is so I can, if I can move this a little bit to show you guys, like there is another ball joint stuck in there that helps with the movement of the wrists. Okay, so like you have to pay attention to like the way the pattern of this part is, which goes on the hand. Okay, and with this you're able to give him a wrist bend. Okay, so that's pretty good. Got a nice wrist bend, and you can arch his hand back a little like this. So that'll be good for like, those superhero poses if he's down on the floor. Okay, which is pretty cool. If it's it might need, it might get a little bit, you might need to get used to this a little bit, but it's very functional, I think. Okay, and now moving to the upper part here. So there's a cut here, which allows for bending and bending side to side. Look at that, very good range. Okay, so it is kind of tight, but it's doable. Like the plastic quality of this figure, like it's malleable, so you can you can push it for sure. Okay, he can look up all the way. Got a good bending on his back, a good arch. Okay, and he can rotate. You can rotate this part all the way around if you wanted to. Same here with this midsection here. Okay, and now let's look at from the waist down, and now we're getting into where I think the flaw is for this figure. Now, I first noticed this when I was watching my good friend God's Box review of this figure. He, at a point in his video, he tried to do a size comparison, and like he wasn't able to he wasn't able to pose Kong properly upright, and that made me question right away whether this figure can stand or not. And he told me that he had a lot of difficulty standing the figure. So like, let me show you right now with this figure. Like if you try standing the figure like in a normal, just a normal human pose, like with his feet straight ahead, you will have difficulty keeping him upright. He does tend to fall over, and even my friend Shin Rob Jira, he reported the same thing, that he had difficulty keeping the figure standing. Okay, now if you notice here, I'm going to bring out the other Kongs in a minute to illustrate the point that I'm getting at. Now you see here, see it just fell right away. Okay, now what you need to do with this figure, okay, is that you need to turn his feet. Let me just adjust the camera a little bit for you guys so you can see better. So in order for you to keep him upright better, what you need to do is to, instead of having his feet pointed straight, his feet has to be pointed outwards like this, with his knees slightly bent. Okay, and that will, like that, you'll be able to keep the figure upright more. Okay, so let me just adjust the camera a little bit so I can show you guys. Also, too, the alignment of his upper body helps because this figure is top heavy, so you do need to pay attention to that. So, like, as long as you have all these other pieces properly aligned, he can stand. Okay, so there. So he is able to stand, but you do have to pay attention to the way his feet are positioned, his knees also, and you'll be able to keep your figure upright. But for display purposes on your shelf and things, I don't recommend that you keep this figure in a normal standing position, because eventually he will fall. So it's better if you just keep him like either in a sitting pose or in like a one knee pose, so where like there'll be more points of contact on the floor for this figure. Okay, let's get into the comparisons now. And now to further illustrate the issues, the standing and bouncing issues with our new Kong figure, I brought out the other figures. Now, as you can now, if you notice how, you know, these two figures are standing, they're standing normal, upright. There's no problem, you know, at least getting him in this normal vanilla position. Okay, but this Kong, this brand new Kong, not the case. Now, with the first edition Kong, there's enough room, there's enough movement in his legs where, I mean, you can even bring his legs together if you wanted to do that. So, okay, and the other Kong, the KSI Kong, the same thing. So you can bring his legs together. There's enough, you know, movement here where you can move him around, give him a better standing position and things. But however, with this new Kong, he's in a constant horse stance, so you are not able to you know, bring his legs together. And even if you try, right away, like, it goes back, you see. So I think the issue lies somewhere over here in this part over here. So like if a customizer wants to try and you know, shave this part off a little bit more, just so you're able to bring in the legs a little bit more, that might be able, you know, that might do it. So I don't know. I'm gonna ask my friend Amos Art Dump when he gets his figure, see if he can figure out a way of you know, customizing this figure in such a way where you can give him a better stance. At least, you know, to be honest, no one should have to have this much difficulty at least standing the figure upright like this. Okay, so like it's unfortunate, but you know, this is what works for me. So for you guys that are picking up this figure, if you do encounter this difficulty of keeping this this figure standing, whether even on your shelf or for toy photography, keep in mind the positioning of his feet. So keep his feet, you know, slightly outward like this, with his knees slightly bent. Make sure that you know, his the rest of his body is properly aligned for you know, like his center of gravity, and you should be okay. Since I have him out already, let's just go ahead and do the size comparison, and you can see like our new Kong is just you know, he's got more mass, he's bigger looking and things, and he is the same height, but you know, he's just bigger, so which is pretty cool. Okay, too bad about the you know, the standing and balancing issues and stuff. I do believe that he could be a little bit taller if I could get his feet you know, closer together, but more or less he is the same height from compared to our first Kong here. And giving you a comparison with our new Kong with the Kong Skull Island Kong, or like Burger King Kong, like Shinrabjira likes to call him. I mean, this is laughable actually, so this is funny. Okay, but a lot of major improvements in terms of the articulation engineering has been made and things overall. Okay, but this is pretty cool. Continuing with the articulation breakdown, so you know, for the legs, I mean, you got good movement at the legs. He can kick them out. Let me just kick them out that much. Okay, so you got good, he can kick back very well. He's got a thigh swivel. Okay, he's got a thigh cut here. Okay, and double jointed knees, which is very nice. Now, unfortunately, with when it comes to ankle movement, there isn't a lot. So there is pivoting a little. Okay, so which is nice, but when it comes to like trying to move it a little bit further, I think there could be a little bit more range here at the ankle. So like that may help with you know, with balancing the figure better. Like if you're able to, you know, slightly move his feet a little bit better. But see, that's okay because, like, you know, he's all the weight is being distributed on this like this on this foot, so he's able to hold it, which is cool. Here's an area where I wish the Hiya Toys team would have gone further in the engineering. What's missing about this figure, and I do believe that it's much needed for this type of character, is a butterfly joint for this figure. You know, so you're able to just move, you know, move the hands closer together, especially like when you're trying to pose him and, you know, his arms in front of his body. Okay, now in Godzilla versus Kong, Kong injures his shoulder, and there's a point where he, you know, where when they wake him up with the heave, and then like his shoulder is dislocated. He slams his shoulder into the building, and, you know, popping his shoulder back into his socket. I was hoping that with this new figure, I would be able to get that pose, but as you can clearly see, I am not. Okay, so I can't, his arms, I can't get him to reach at least his other shoulder. Now, in terms of the SH Monster Arts, I am able to do that pose, at least in the ballparks, at least a lot closer. I mean, he is able to touch his other shoulder to get that injured shoulder pose. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do that with this guy, which hopefully for future, you know, Kong releases and things, hopefully the Hiya Toys team can incorporate, you know, a better shoulder system where you can pull off a pose to make it look more organic and more expressive, which I think is much needed. Demonstrating for you the knuckle walking stance. Well, here's where the shoulder cuts and like all the new articulation in the arms and in the wrist comes into play. This looks really, really nice. Yeah, this looks much more organic looking. Okay, just it needs a butterfly joint system just to bring the arms in together a little bit more. But this is nice already. Very well done, Hiya Toys. I really like this. And for this figure, because of the new articulation in the legs, you know, sitting poses are much more organic looking, which is really nice. Really like this. And here's another articulation demonstration down on one knee. And like with this Kong, you can definitely do some really cool battle poses, which is really nice. Very, very cool. Look at that. Very cool. Demonstrating for you another pose. Definitely this Kong has way more playability than all the other ones that I'm finding. This is pretty badass in my opinion. Even though this figure doesn't have a butterfly joint, you are able to achieve the chopping pose, and that's pretty badass. Very, very cool. Before I forget, let me show you the differences between the old axe and the new axe. Now, I never noticed how overscaled the old axe was until this new axe, so that's pretty amazing actually. So Now with the old axe, you know, you could take it apart so you can you accommodate it in his hands. But with the new axe, you know, it's much more malleable than the old axe, and you don't really need to do that. Now one big thing is with the new axe is that you know, it is made of a translucent plastic material, so you can shine a light right through it, and you can get it to light up, which is really cool. And of course, the old axe just doesn't have that, you know, doesn't have that ability, which is really nice. Very cool. Let's get into some size comparisons, starting off with Godzilla Evolved. And yeah, yeah, it's a good thing that we're getting a bigger one. Okay, a more accurately scaled one compared to this Kong, I think. Okay, so let me leave him out here, and let's bring out Godzilla Re-Evolved, which is my favorite of all of them, I think. And this looks pretty cool. So here is Godzilla Re-Evolved, and you can see for those, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah, it's a good thing we're getting a new Godzilla Evolved. Yeah, very cool. And for the next size comparison here, we have the SH Monster Art Scar King. And right now, San Diego Comic-Con is happening, and Hiya Toys just revealed their new Scar King figure that's gonna be on its way, and I cannot wait for that figure. I really like the Scar King character, and I've been waiting for the Hiya Toys to do theirs, and it's finally coming. And I really like this figure a lot by SH Monster Arts, but you know, I really want the the Hiya Toys version. And guys, Hiya Toys, please, that head on that's displayed, he needs to look meaner. All right, guys, but I can't wait to do photos with these two guys, because these two guys look really cool together. Man, look at that. So cool. Very cool. And for the next size comparison, let's do the Hiya Toys Shimo, and these two look really nice together as well. But I'm hoping for a more scaled, accurate Shimo. Who knows? We might get it someday. And not forgetting, of course, the SH Monster Arts Tsuko, and this looks pretty cool. I can't wait to do some photos with these two. I just had to do it, guys. This looks too cool to pass up. Yes. Very, very cool. Giving you guys a look at my articulated Kong collection. I have 13 Kongs in total, and I'm getting more as the years go by and my Kong army grows. Guys, how many Kongs do you have in your collection? You know, message me in the comments section below. I'm curious to know. And not forgetting the SH Monster Arts Shimo, and I think the, you know, comparing these two together look pretty good. And that's it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys dug it. Let me know, guys, in the comment section, are you guys excited to pick up this Kong figure, or are you guys skipping this figure and picking up the Beast Glove Kong instead? Let me know in the comment section below. So as I explained in my video, you know, about the balancing issues with this Kong figure, just remember to pivot his feet outward and bend his knees slightly a little bit, and you should have no problem, you know, keeping them upright. But for display purposes, again, I recommend that you give them like a squatting position on your shelf, or like a sitting position, and you know, you won't have to worry about this figure falling over. All right, guys, so thank you for watching, guys. I'm gonna work on the toy photography now. I haven't done any toy photography yet as we record this video. And again, special thanks to Hiya Toys for sending me out this figure for review. And this figure is right now in stock at Kowkistoy.com, so you guys can get this Kong figure there and use my promo code Figuremania-kowkis to get 6% off. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Take care.